is much too much, or wouldn't you say? A second is too short, an eon too long. A week is just stupid, and so is this song. Ooh, everybody's got a half an hour. Haven't you got a half an hour? This bill only needs a half an hour. So come in and stay.
Live from Bangkok, Thailand, the video podcasting capital of the world, it's the Kirchenbauer Haffenhauer. I'm Bill Kirchenbauer, your host, along with Paul Brumbaugh. Here we discuss many things, as our motto is, I talk to myself all the time anyway, so you might as well listen in. Well, welcome to episode, I don't know what it is. We've done a lot of these. We're going to keep doing them whether you like it or not. Paul is in his studio, and I'm in mine, and you're hopefully maybe in the car or in a bedroom or something like that. Have a very interesting show today. I've given a lot of thought. Sometimes I don't put a lot of thought into these. I just kind of improvise them. But this one I've put some thought into it. And Paul, I think you'll find this interesting. We're going to talk about commercials. The average person sees maybe 100 commercials in one form or another during the day, be it billboards along the road, commercials on the radio, TV, on your computer, on Facebook, some form of commercials. And you have to realize that it has one job, and that is to get you to buy or buy into whatever they're trying to sell you. It's just as much as if somebody tapped you on the shoulder as you went down the street and said, hey, would you like these sheets? These are really nice sheets. Now, that's what it is. And you get assaulted. Some of them might not, they may be trying to sell you tampons in your eye, but it's constant bombardment of here in Bangkok. They had the BTS, the SkyTrain, and they wrap those things with commercials for air conditioners and all sorts of stuff. So they're traveling giant running 4-car commercials. And I've done a little work in commercials and advertising, and it's very interesting. A lot of psychology comes into it. There's different tricks. There's the qualifying. Well, are you good enough for our product? Or don't be the last one left out. That's the old bandwagon. Hop on the bandwagon, and they have different ways of making you think that, oh, this is what you want. They slow motion pour things and close-ups of things and people eating. I had a friend that did a lot of TV commercials, hamburger commercials and food commercials, because he ate great. He would take a ham. His name was Tom McTee. He's a comedian, and he could take a great bite of a hamburger. He just bit in the hamburgers great, and he made a lot of money doing commercials. So commercials, they're part of your life whether you like it or not. So we're going to talk about them. I've dealt with them. I've produced a few. The problem is that commercials are come from people that know nothing about commercials. They sell shoes, they sell insurance, they sell computers, they sell whatever they're trying to sell you, pencils, food, everything. So there's a company behind this, and the company decides that they want to advertise. And so what they usually do is they go out and get an advertising company. And these people sometimes don't know anything about commercials either. They know more than the client, but hopefully there's some creativity in it. But from what the commercials I see, there aren't. And over the years, I think the subject of this show is commercials I've personally had booted off the air because they make such a mess of them. And I'm going to start with one right now, just to show you. One other thing, when I've gotten into business meetings with the clients, I start off them not liking me because I tell them, I said, listen, we're going to try to create something to sell whatever it is you're trying to sell. But the first thing you have to realize is, and I know you live and breathe this toothpaste. I mean, this toothpaste is your lifeblood. It pays for your kids' college. It pays for your car. Pays for your house. You come here to the toothpaste factory, and all these toothpaste people make toothpaste. And you put it in the tubes, and you live and breathe toothpaste. But what you have to understand when coming to advertising is nobody gives a fuck. And I would say that to them. I say, nobody gives a fuck. So if you go from that position, then you're ahead of yourself because they don't care about it. You care about it. They don't care about it. They're trying to go to work. They're trying to, make a date with a girl or something like that. So you're interrupting their day, trying to talk to people and sell them something that they don't give a fuck about. Now, you might like it, and it may be a great product, but they don't care. So if you go from that, then you're starting with the right mentality because you're trying to sell to people who are pretty much, walking down the street and you're tapping them on the shoulder going, hey, buy this. So let's go from that. They don't care. They don't care what you do. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can make them laugh, which might not have anything to do, and that means them giving up their ego. Now, even though you're showing them the toothpaste, no, not going to show them the toothpaste. We're going to make them laugh, and then you can show them the toothpaste, and they'll know who made them laugh. Or you can impress them technologically by blowing things up and doing things and stuff like that. Or you can just talk to them and give them information, which is the lowest form of commercials. Because again, going back to the original, nobody gives a fuck. So if you sit there and say, hey, I've invented this great new car, blah, 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 and just sit there and bombard them with, people just turn right off. And they know when you're trying to sell them. So anyway, so let's watch this one commercial. This is a few years old. I watched this and I couldn't believe it.
When I told my friends how little my Craftmatic adjustable bed cost, they didn't believe me until they called. If you price a Craftmatic, you'll own a Craftmatic when you see how little they cost. If you've ever had
You're back on.
I'm back on.
That was the Craftmatic adjustable bed.
Yes, yeah, okay. See, I can't see it. Okay, let me talk to you about this one. Now, I know this woman is like married to the guy that owns the company. But here's what happens when you hire amateurs and you don't have a director and you this is great. If you notice, this woman does not say, the name of the product is Craftmatic, but she and her stupid everyday person thing doesn't know how to say Craftmatic. She says Craftmatic. And nobody was there, a director or somebody who had a company, to say, wait a minute, you can't say Crapmatic. It's Craftmatic. But that's beyond her capability because she's not a professional actress. She's the wife of the guy that owns the company or daughter or something like that. They just went out and grabbed somebody. And all it does, and then they paying time for this. I got a hold of this company and I got kind of up in the air. And I said, this commercial you have, do you realize she's saying Crapmatic? And the guy was, well, I said, take a look at it. I had to call him back a couple of times because they kept airing it. I said, this is not right. You got to stop this. But what happens is either they hire big stars who they don't want to correct, or they're too stupid to correct, or there's nobody there to correct, and they let it slide. And now, while that got past an editor, and then people that probably sat around and said, "Here's our new commercials. Let's take a look at it." Oh, Crapmatic. Oh, that's great. Let's buy it. Let's buy a lot of time. And this ran for months and months. And every time I'd see it, I'd just shake my head and just go, I can't believe this. So this is an example of what happens when you're an amateur trying to do a commercial and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You actually damage yourself more than you help yourself. And maybe everybody doesn't know this, but I think a lot of people subconsciously hear this woman saying Crapmatic. Not good. Okay, let's sort of let me talk about a couple. There was one that ran. I don't have the video of it, so I'm going to tell you about it. It was for Sherwin-Williams, and they were trying to sell this paint that cleaned up easily. It was supposedly, if you got stuff on it, it would clean up. So they had this little scene in a comedy club where there was a comedian up on stage, and he was told a joke or two. He wasn't even really a comedian. I didn't recognize him, but then the audience starts throwing tomatoes and stuff at him at the stage and hitting the stage, and then afterwards the club owners cleaning it off real easy. I was appalled. I was appalled that they would do this. I'm a stand-up comedian, and here they are, built a commercial, but a bunch of idiots on Wall Street who have never done stand-up, pretty much giving people the permission or inciting people to throw shit at comedians. So I called them up, and I got to the advertising company, and I said, "Hi, my name is Bill Kirchenbauer. You can Google me when we're done with this call. I'm a professional comedian. I have a lot of very, very famous professional comedian friends. And about 4 of us were sitting around the other night and saw this commercial. And you need to take that off the air. How would you like it if I made a commercial saying people could come down and push pies in the face of people that do write commercials, TV commercials?" I said, "You're telling people it's okay to go to comedy clubs and throw stuff at people while we're doing our job." I said, "Nobody does that." I said, "I've had it, but they get kicked out. That's asshole behavior, and you're trying to perpetuate it." And so I'm telling you once. I'm not going to tell you again next time. And I kind of insinuated that one of my buddies was Jerry Seinfeld, who at the time I said, "I have some very famous comedians, and we're all going to come out at once and shit on this commercial if you don't get rid of it." Never saw it again.
That's funny.
Never saw it again. Again, idiots trying to, "Oh, that's funny. That'll be a comedian, and we can throw stuff at him, and then we can clean it up and show that the paint clears." Well, no, didn't happen. Then one time I was watching this commercial. These 2 women were sitting by a pool. And they were sitting in their lounge chairs and their bikinis and stuff. They were pretty attractive women. And they see a guy come out, very bulky, 6-pack type handsome guy come out and walk past them. And he's setting up a little massage area over by the pool. And the woman says, "Well, he can sure be my masseuse," something to that effect. And I thought, no, it's masseur. The male that does the massage is a masseur. He's not a masseuse. So I did a little digging. I found the ad company. I talked to some guy, and I said, "Who directed this thing?" "Oh, it was some real guy." And I said, you fucked up." I said, "He's not a masseuse. He's a masseur." Did anybody catch that when you were shooting the commercial? And you hear this big long silence on it. And I think I saw it one more time and then it was gone. But again, you hear these commercials that these people make big mistakes with that they don't have any idea what they're doing, but they think they do. So let's run one of the other ones there, and I'll comment it. There's 2 guys standing. It's for a grande internet, and I want to show you how badly this is what you call a bad cut. It's 2 cable guys going to service a house, and inside they do a stupid joke. And even though these 2 guys, well, watch this. This is just so badly.
Okay, I think I have the right one. Hold on a second.
Okay. But notice that something happens inside the house, and these 2 guys who are still outside by their truck react to it and go, "Oh, well, how did that? And how the hell did they see inside the house to see this happen?" So run the.
All right, let's try it.
If you're one of the millions who want to be free from chronic pain, then you need to experience The Joint, the new revolution in chiropractic care. Feel the difference today for an introductory price of just $19.
Well, you got to watch that one. Did you run it? Okay, hold on now. Hold on. Because you got to know what you're looking for when you run that again. Maybe we'll run it again. Uh, it looks like at the very end that the chiropractor, it's a job, it's a commercial for chiropractors. It looks like the chiropractor is fucking the woman on the table. Show it again.
If you're one of the millions who want to be free from chronic pain, then you need to experience The Joint, the new revolution in chiropractic care. Feel the difference today for an introductory price of just $19.
Right. Hold on. I'm sorry. Go again.
I said that commercial is for a place called The Joint. It is a franchise chiropractic company. They franchise chiropractors, and they give them their advertising and support them. It's like buying, KFC franchise, and they do all that. So I had a friend of mine that was a chiropractor, and he owned one of these places. And when I saw the commercial, I called him up and I said, "Hey, man, you need to call the corporate people and tell them that that's not a good commercial. Somebody look at it. It looks like the guy is behind this girl, and I know he's pushing her, but it looks like he's bonking her from behind." I said the director was an idiot, not a good shot. And sure as hell, that disappeared.
Yeah, no, it didn't look very nice. It looked wrong.
No, it doesn't. But how could see this? Is what gets me. How can people look at this stuff and go, "Oh, that looks good. That looks good." They mispronounce the name. It looks like he's screwing a customer. Yeah, sure. That's what gets me. So, what was the other one?
The other one is your car salesman manager, and then there's
car salesman. That's this guy. This was a guy. Did we show that yet?
No, we have not shown that yet.
Okay, we're going to show this. I made fun of this guy because he would do, and I've seen a lot of people do this. And for some reason, there was a guy in Austin who had a furniture store, and he did the same, used furniture store, and he would do the same thing. And this guy, he's the manager. Again, bad idea. He's a sales manager of this Chevrolet dealership. And I tried to get a hold of him, and he had this thing where he would break his knees. We'll see him. He breaks his knees and he thrusts his hands. He breaks his knees and he thrusts his hands. And so he did it so much that I put fart noises behind it every time he would do it, and then I sent it to him. And he still kept doing it. Some people just don't learn. They think they know it, but it looks so stupid.
They don't get it. They don't get it.
They don't get it. They don't get it. They think he's right.
All right, so here we go. Let's run that commercial.
Okay. I put in the fart noises.
Amazing! The animals are normal, but the people are still crazy. Crazy, I tell you. I
I almost wish I could have showed you. You put your head down. You're like, oh gosh. Every time you hear it, it's like, oh my gosh. It's great.
Well, he started doing it, but he would do it. He'd drop and he'd drop and it's just something that people do. When you put a camera on the average person, they start doing stupid shit. And that guy, he kept doing it. He didn't learn. I think he eventually went away. So there was another commercial, and I wish I had a copy of this. This is another perfect example. It was many years ago. It was for Crest toothpaste. And they hired this black woman dentist from Chicago. And she was an actual dentist because I looked her up afterwards. And she was a spokeswoman for Crest. Obviously an educated woman. She was a dentist. She was a real dentist. And she was their spokesman. The only problem is that she couldn't say the word Crest. She kept saying Crest. Crest toothpaste. Crest. She wouldn't hit their T's. And I thought, they got to be paying this woman a lot of money. And she was on the air a lot. And every time that commercial would come on, I said, Crest. No, it's Crest. But there was nobody there. There was no director, or if he was a moron, or somebody had the balls to go up to her and say, "Excuse me, but you have to say the word Crest, not Cress, Crest." Crest toothpaste. It's Crest. In your daily life, if you want to call it Crest, that's fine. But the name of it is Crest. So I find
you start to wonder if they actually have auditions for this, or like you said, they're hiring the guy's daughter or wife or.
So that happens a lot too. There was a dealership in Austin where a guy would. That's another major problem I have. Is people trying to sell you something that they themselves don't use. There was a guy at a Toyota dealership in Austin, and he would take his cute little 8-year-old daughter and put her on the hood of the car, and she would say, "My daddy." And I thought, I'm not gonna fucking buy a car from an 8-year-old, you know. Okay, maybe she's cute, but there's lots of cute little girls. In fact, I'm not gonna. Oh, that girl's so cute. I think I'll go spend $30,000 on a car. But more worse is that here's an 8-year-old trying to sell me a car, a person that can't use the product, doesn't know how to use the product, can't afford the product, and doesn't have the product, trying to sell me the product. And 8-year-olds aren't going to sell me. So don't use people to try to sell products that they themselves can't use. I know Ethan. I know the cute daughter and all that. That irritates me too. Another plumber down there used to bring his whole family on. Like, oh look, I have children I have to feed, and that was the subtext of it. And that just turns me right off. So let's see what. Then there was this one again. We do have a copy of it. It's the Grey Poupon one. Can you run that one?
Yes, we do.
It's
Hold
the guys
on
in the
a second.
Rolls
Let me get to that for you. And the Grey Poupon, you got.
There
you go.
Pardon me. Grey Poupon, available in a squeeze bottle.
So, what was your thoughts on that?
I don't want
Here's
to.
mine.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was thinking. I don't want to think about farts when I'm eating.
Exactly. Now, you think somewhere through this whole process of renting the Rolls Royces, writing the commercial up, shooting the commercial, paying the actors, editing it, buying, and then they buy time. And I called the advertising company and I said pretty much exactly that. I said, who in the world thought it was a good idea to mix farts with a food product you're trying to sell? And it was, again, this dead air. I said, they're an idiot. They should be fired. Everybody that had anything to do with that commercial should be fired and never do commercials again. I said, a fart joke? Here, let me tell you something to eat. Oh, and let's make a fart joke. That'll be funny. It's just morons. They need to be beaten over the head with a stick. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I see this thing all the time. Now here's one my wife caught several years ago. This is probably about 15 years ago. She sees this commercial, and this is when they were brand new. Dishwashing pods. Those little squares that you put in your dishwasher.
Oh yeah.
It was a commercial introducing these, and it shows the little receptacle in the dishwasher with a mouth and a face, and you take the pod and you feed it to the little mouth in the dishwasher in the little box. And she said, "It's terrible. It makes it look like it's something to eat." And I said, "You're right." I said, if kids see that, and they're all colorful, they're green and blue, and they look like a big piece of candy. And so she's not like I am. I'll call. I'll call. So I looked it up, and you can always find the advertising companies and even the company. You call the company. But the problem is you usually can't get it. See, companies hide from their customers, and that's really asshole behavior. You should be open. They have helplines who usually are helpless. They can't do shit. They can maybe make a note or something like this. But I called and I got up as high as I could, and I said, "You're gonna kill somebody." I started out like that. And they said, "What?" I said, "This commercial you have out with these pods, they're all colorful and they have a little mouth ready to eat it up and put it in the mouth." And I said, "You're making it look, especially kids seeing this, they think, oh, mommy's got some of that in the thing. I think I'll go eat some." Well, and in the commercial, I think I did after a few months. You know what happened? That's what happened. Some kids started eating them and dying, and then they got sued, and then the commercials came off the air, or at least in the form of a little mouth eating them. But a couple of kids had to die. They killed a couple of kids, and they probably had to pay millions of dollars because somebody was too stupid to figure out this is not candy. It's kind of the reverse of the fart thing. It's making something that's, it is not food, making it look like it is food. And, it's too bad that a couple of kids had to, I'm sure it was more than just a couple. But they ran into some heavy problems like that. And I saw about it on the news, and Lynn and I looked at each other and said, told him so. Told him so. So, okay. So the gist of all this is that when you watch commercials, take everything, especially with AI now, take everything with a grain of salt because they make things look bigger. They lie to you. They I once went in to a Carl's Jr. and I saw they had a new hamburger, and I oh wow, that looks good. I don't know what it was, some new hamburger, and they had a big poster of it. And I took a picture. I just got on the phone. I took a picture of it. I went in and I ordered it. And then this thing came out. Didn't look anything like. Oh, I know what it was. I know what it was. It was a non-bun burger, and it showed a patty. It was for people with low on carbs. It showed a patty wrapped in butter lettuce. So the butter lettuce was the buns, and I wanted to try it. So I ordered it, and out comes this thing with iceberg lettuce. Now, I don't know if they think everybody's stupid, but I sure the hell know the difference between butter lettuce and iceberg lettuce. The butter lettuce looked good. The iceberg lettuce is a lot cheaper, and an out and out fucking lie.
Right.
So I said to the person, I said, "Look at this." I said, "This is not this. This doesn't look anything like this." And they went, "Well, that's it." I said, "Well, tell them they're liars." And I called the company. And I said, "Don't put up a big poster with butter lettuce trying to sell this new product and then give me iceberg lettuce. It's a lie. You're lying to me." What I eventually did was say, "Just give me a hamburger." I know you got buns back there. But commercials will lie to you. They'll tell you anything. I don't know if you've seen these commercials for the animated AI dog, and they show you this little Pomeranian. Oh, buy it! It's fooled veterinarians. And it shows this little dog walking around, and it's only $29.95. It's walking around, and it looks like a real dog. You know why? Because it is a real dog. The one you get looks like it was made by Mattel in Japan in 1962. And you line it up, and it's nothing like it, but it fooled veterinarians. So to wrap everything up, just letting you know that these people that make these commercials, they're out to get you. They're out to sell you. They're out to create problems that aren't there, but they have the answer for it. Here's the thing to help you chop up your cucumbers. And, I have one. It's called a knife. I do it like this. So sometimes they actually create problems, or make you think there's a problem so that they can create a product to help solve the problem that you really didn't have in the first place. So that's my little rant on commercials. Wait and see how soon it is from when you watch this show to when you see your next commercial. And write in the comment section what it is. Write, make some comments. Maybe you have some commercials that you hate. So people hate a lot of commercials, especially local commercials. They're the worst. Anyway, that's it. That's a half an hour, the Kirchenbauer half an hour. Come back next week to see Paul and I. We'll be here. So take care and don't get yourself in trouble.
And guess how we're going to end this? With a commercial of yours.